What is to become of me? O Lord, alone in this city, with only drink, hateful drink that dulls me, disgraces me, lonely drink that leaves me lonely, more despised. Why this cross? Give me another. Great pain, great illness, anything. But let there be someone to share it. Why do you torture me, alone, silent, behind your little door? Why? I hate you, she said, her voice loud and shrill in the silence of the church. And she waited. Now, surely, now in his anointed, consecrated place, a thunderbolt will striking down, white and terrible, from the vaulted roof, and leave the shriveled nothing to the ground. She bent her head down for the blow, but the only sound was the banging door as the priest entered the church. No sign. The red sanctuary lamp swung from side to side. No one. Only bread. But if he still waited, if he stayed his hand. She walked towards the altar quickly now, her dark eyes on the little white curtain. One way above all. Let it end now, let it end forever. Let him strike, terrible in his wrath, a God of judgment, crumbling the defiler of his temple. She reached the communion rail and fumbled with the catch of the gate. She bent over, her whole body trembling uncontrollably as it suddenly swung free, open. Her path only 6 steps up to the altar, up to the golden door. Oh God, oh Father, now. She did not see the 2 women start up in fear from their prayer. She did not see the agitation of the old man in the front bench as she slowly climbed the steps. She did not see Father Quigley run down the center aisle. She went forward, her head up, her dark eyes wild, waiting for the thunderbolt. Now! She reached the altar platform and drew the little curtain aside. The small door filled her whole eye, golden, mysterious, terrifying. Behind it, or wafers of bread. Trembling, she put her trembling hands on the door, scratched to find the lock, but the door was rough, encrusted with a motif of crucifixes. In the darkness of the nave, someone shouted, "Now, now!" She tore at the door, now the thunderbolt. But the door would not open, small, golden, holy of holies. It remained shut against her trembling, weeping onslaught. "Open! Let me in!" she screamed. "In!" The church screamed back. "In!" But the door rejected her. It would not open. Blood ran from her from her nails. The altar cloth slid sideways along the marble of the altar table. Candlesticks crashed on the steps. "You!" she screamed, and the red light filled her eyes. Golden doors merged, fell away in crumbling segments. He came out, trembling, breathing fire, his face howling. The altar steps, her painted face still sadly smiling, lifted her. As she lay broken on the steps, St. Joseph knelt gravely at her right, and he, his fingers uplifted in blessing, bent over her. His bleeding heart, red against his white tunic, lifted her in his hands, and his face was close to hers. "Why did you do this?" he said. But she could not see his face. It went warm and sick and blurred, and the red lamps burned again, filling all her eyes, carrying her off into darkness, all forgetting. "Why did she do it?" one of the kneeling housewives asked Father Quigley. He looked down at the blood-stained hands, the bruised face, the straggling hair of the woman in his arms. He looked, and then he looked at the locked tabernacle. "God knows," he said. Judith Hearn. Judith Hearn. All right. We're a deeply spiritual people, the Irish, and to confirm that, Roddy Doyle has a marvelous novel called Ha Ha Ha, and in it he speaks with equal rigor about devotion, and the narrator, the hero of this book, is a small child. And he's gone off to Catholic school, and at school he learns about Father Damien, and so he believes that he too wants to work among the lepers, and he gets his friends around and they play this particular game. Okay. There was no cure for leprosy. He didn't tell his mother when he was writing to her, but the news got out. People sent money to Father Damien, and he built another church with it. It was made of stone. The church was still standing and may be seen by travelers at Molokai today. Father Damien told his children that he was dying and the nuns would take care of them from then on. They clung to his feet and said, "No, no, we want to stay as long as you are here." The nuns had to go back empty-handed. "Do it again." Sinbad grabbed my leg. Sinbad's his brother. "No, no, Cam, no, no. I can't remember it. No, sorry. Can I not say Patrick? No. Do it again, and you'd better do it right. I don't want to." I had given him half a Chinese torture. He grabbed my legs. "Lower down." "How? Lower." "You'll kick me." "I won't." I will if you don't." Sinbad grabbed me around the ankles. He held me tight so that my feet were stuck. "No, no. We want to stay as long as you're here. Oh, my children, you can stay." Father Damien died on Palm Sunday. The people sat on the ground, beating their breasts in old Hawaiian fashion, swaying back and forth and wailing sadly. The leprosy had gone off him. There were no scabs or anything. He was a saint. I read it twice. The harpist. The harp that once through Tara's halls. So here it is. Right. So now he'd read that, and he too wants to be a saint and wants to cure lepers. And so this is the way he thinks it through. I needed lepers. Sinbad wasn't enough. He kept running away. He told our ma that I was making him be a leper, and he didn't want to be one. So I needed lepers. I couldn't tell Kevin because he'd have ended up being Father Damien, and I'd have been a leper. It was my story. I got the McCarthy twins and Willie Hancock. They were four, the three of them. They thought it was great being with a big boy, me, and I made them come into our back garden. I told them what lepers were. They wanted to be lepers. Can lepers swim? Said Willie Hancock. "Yes," I said. We can't swim," said one of the McCarthys. "Lepers can swim," said Willie Hancock. They'd have to. They don't have to, I said. "You don't have to swim. You only have to pretend you're lepers. It's easy. You just have to be a bit sick and wobble a bit." They wobbled. Can they laugh? Sorry. Can they laugh? "Yes," I said. They only have to lie down sometimes so I can mop their brows and say prayers on them. "I'm a leper. I'm a leper. Wobble, wobble, wobble. Wobble, wobble, leper. Wobble, wobble, leper. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." Wobble, 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 wobble. Shut up a sec. Wobble, 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 wobble. They had to go home for their dinners. I heard them through the hedge on the whole path to their houses. "I'm a leper. Wobble, 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 wobble." "I have a vocation," I told Ma, just in case Mrs. McCartney came to the door about the twins or Mrs. Hancock. She was still cooking the dinner and stopping Catherine from climbing into the press under the sink with the polish and the brushes in it. "What's that, Patrick?" "I have a vocation," I said. She picked up Catherine. "Has someone been talking to you?" she said. It wasn't what I expected. "No," I said. "I want to be a missionary." "Good boy," she said. "But not the way I'd wanted. I wanted her to cry. I wanted my da to shake my hand. I told him when he got home from work. "I have a vocation," I said. "No, you don't," he said. "You're too young." "I do," I said. "God has spoken to me." It was all wrong. He spoke to my ma. "I told you," he said. He sounded angry. "Encouraging this rubbish," he said. "I didn't encourage it," she said. "Yes, you bloody did," he said. She looked like she was making up her mind. "You did." He roared it. She went out of the kitchen, beginning to run. She tried to undo the knot of the apron. He went after her. He looked different, like he had been caught doing something. They left me alone, and I didn't know what happened. I didn't know what I'd done. They came back. They didn't say anything. So that's...